Round number 10 of the season, technically round 9 with the canceled round we had in Miami, but welcome along for the event tonight in Qatar with just a couple rounds remaining in the RPL FE season. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, and it's now time to get things underway. A championship can be won today, but it's very, very unlikely. We'll have to see what happens with the action. Here's qualifying. Also, headlines, penalties, changes. Let's go over that very quickly. Valk is going to be full-time McLaren Season 2. Gecko, full-time Red Bull Season 2. Zatsi, Ferrari Season 2. As for Tier 1 changes that happened over the weekend, Josh is a Tier 1 reserve now, while Cam is taking over that seat full-time. Scyther's on loan tonight. Gecko is in Alpine. And Qatar Tier 1 will be race 200 of RPL Tier 1. Got Zomans making a FE debut. We've got Cryptic back again and AlphaTauri. Alistair for a second straight week in a row after his return. Lots to look forward to. That is for sure. We got TSR Cryptic, the first driver on track. He's testing his setup because he's on intermediates. Good evening, Invade. Good to have you guys here in the chat. Especially because I am alone tonight as commentator. So, good to have you all here in chat. Even though there might be a few of you. It's okay. Thought I was pinged somewhere, but I'm not. I've been pinged 4 times in a certain incident. Just watch this clip. I need to look at this. Alright, so no lap from Cryptic. He's going to go back to the pit lane. I think the next one who could be actually starting a lap in this qualifying session, as I believe a KVS has just joined us, is Zomans, making a RPL debut. With that said, let's go over the championship standings. So we've got Scyther out in front over Jack by 42 points. KVS is 59 points back. Zach is no longer in the league, but he'd have to serve a qualifying ban. 65 points back. Owen 67. Hunt 70. And Luke 74. KVS serving a qualifying ban due to being late in the lobby, but our first lap on track will come from the Haas driver, Zomans. It would have been well, we could say it was Kipu technically. I did not see that Kipu ended up passing Zomans, but the Haas driver is Zomans. First lap in the league, let's see how good he is. Turn 1 looks okay. Turn 2 is his way now. A little submissive in terms of the way he entered it. Turn 3 was much better. He's now got the ending bits of Sector 1 to negotiate his way through. A Haas here in Tier 2 got P4 in the Season 10 running of this race. We've only had 3 events here for Tier 2. 2 for F2. 1 for Tier 1. So, not too much experience around this track for the drivers, but a lot more this game cycle than other tracks we've been at, though. Such as tracks like Miami, Australia, Baku, you name it. There's been a lot of tracks we've not been at a ton, but we've been at Qatar more this game in comparison, I guess. Overall, I mean, we've been at those tracks a lot more longer, but just this game specifically, though, is where that changes. But yeah, Sector 2 looks a little different for Zomans. Kipu's going to cross the line first, of course, but Zomans will get the more representative lap in on those softs compared to the mediums. Then we'll switch to others on a lap right after. Likely Jack Miles, our championship contender. And Zomans goes fastest, 22-0, top of the table. We're going to go aboard with Jack Miles, who is second in the championship now. He had a really big chance to gain on Scyther last week in Brazil, but I don't think he was here. So, yeah. So Jack Miles, purple through Sector 1. Let's ride on board with him, and let's give you the action throughout the rest of the circuit on board with second in the championship. And now final corner for what is Jack Miles. Jack Miles getting the slipstream from the Haas, and now this will help him crucially as he comes across the line to set 21-1, the fastest time. That Haas giving him a slipstream was RSF1 Invade, who is also completing a lap. But that slipstream down to turn 1, our only DRS zone, is going to be super powerful tonight. No doubt about it. We're not going to go on board with what Titan calls the safety car merchant. I'm not going to say that because actually in FE and in this car specifically, he's been a lot better, the Aston Martin driver of Wavy. Points last week. Aston have a podium at this circuit coming from Season 10 with Beatnik in Tier 2. So, yeah, let's see what Wavy can do. I think Wavy, in terms of FE, this has been his tier where it's kind of been a breakout tier in terms of pace. I mean, not necessarily the results are there, but, you know, Tier 1, he's not always in the car that he really should be in, and he's most comfortable in Tier 2. He's in Aston. He's had some up and down moments. Obviously, he's in the back with Gagi, colliding with him a lot. Real problems it's been, but Hungary is a race that I think Wavy will look back at this season when the season's over and be happy that he had pace with Josh. He was really equaling Josh on pace, and that's freaking amazing for Wavy, considering he's not the fastest of drivers. And then last week in Brazil, I know there was a limited field, but he still got a points result. He's got other races where he's been up there as well, and maybe not got the finishes, or got the finishes, whatever the case may be. So Wavy has been my driver that I've looked out for in terms of a lot of great pace in FE compared to the other tiers, but not the results. And, you know, he's in a car that he's most comfortable in, the Aston Martin. Same with Tier 2. Look at the results he started getting in Tier 2 once he was comfortable with that car. Wavy's crossing the line now. It will not be fastest, but this could very well likely be third. It will be third for the Aston driver. The Merc is next at his Speedy. He comes across the line to make it second fastest. Owen McMorran, though, the new Tier 2 champion. You have Hunted and Owen, the last two Tier 2 champions, but Owen is lagging a little bit. So we'll see how much this will affect the Irish driver. Potato internet right now. Either way, coming across the line for Owen McMorran to go fastest over Jack Miles and make Jack Miles in a Mercedes sandwich. How about that? That's interesting. Alistair made his return as well in Tier 2 just recently. And now Invalidated also made his return in Tier 1 and FE specifically last week. Not good for him to invalidate the lap time. I believe Kipu's on a second lap, if I'm correct. And Kipu, if he's on a second lap, this is not the best of second laps, but I'm sure he's just eyeing an improvement on his 7th place time right now and not really looking for much. You see a lot of drivers not out on the racetrack right now. let's talk about the rest of the weekend with the way it's gone thus far. Kibu did not have the best of laps. He did not improve at all in KVS. Also retires from the session, serving as qualifying ban. The thing that I was going to talk about, folks, is Tier 2 winner JTK for the first time. Congrats. Tier 2 champion now Owen. Congrats. Also, with that said, Tier 1 race winner Cookie. Congrats. Red Bull looking to do what is going to be 3 in a row for the weekend. Not the first time they've done that. They've done that before. And Scyther could be claiming the FE championship today, but he has to outscore Jack, and it can't end on a tie because Jack Miles, I believe if I'm correct, can win a tie some way, somehow. So it has to be 53 points, I believe, the gap. Let me just double check if Jack Miles can win any of the ties. They both have 1 race win, but Scyther has 4 P2s. And if Jack wins the last couple races and Scyther doesn't do anything, then it does mean, in a way, that it would go to P1s over P2s. If it went to P2s over P1s, then that's where Scyther would get it. So the gap does need to be 53 points, though, for tonight's event. JTK is on a lap now for Red Bull. He won his first race, and he returned here in RPL as well, not too long ago. His brother, Make PK, I would say if you want to talk about a most successful racetrack for a driver, this is going to be it. Podium here in Season 17 F2, and that was a big surprise. Can't believe I'm saying those words. Make PK on the podium for F2 because of that. Season 18 was okay, I believe, for F2 for him. I think it was just okay. As for the Tier 2 race here, JTK with a little wiggle. The Tier 2 race here, though, as Alistair did go third fastest earlier, I will mention the Tier 2 race because... not right away. Mention the Tier 2 race here because in Season 9... I believe Make PK also got points in that event. So, yeah. JTK and his blood relations pretty good around this circuit. And in a Red Bull tonight, trying to help them for the constructors' sake. They are 8 points ahead of McLaren. The constructors cannot be won tonight, so that's why we're not focusing on it too much. But the race is at the front of the field between Red Bull and McLaren. And McLaren's second fastest. Now, because of JTK's time, they sit third fastest. JTK goes provisional pole. Let's see who else is about to start a lap or is on one. TSR Cryptic. Let's give him some credit right now because he is the guy who makes our thumbnails for RPL with race highlights. He helps out massively there, so thank you so much, TSR Cryptic. We're going to watch you do a lap now. I don't want him to be known as the thumbnail man because he was always known as the pole man and never ended up winning races. So he did that last week, got pole, but didn't win the race. Had limited practice, so the fact that he was on pole is pretty impressive, I will say. Track limits will also be a big thing here tonight, 27-2 in the first sector. And coming through the S section now, which can get tricky for a driver. We should ask Cryptic if he thinks he's Ricardo because he's using number 3. He went over the out of bounds area and invalidated his lap time. We have as well more drivers out on track. Hunted is out there. He's got some decent runs in recently, a podium, much needed by the way. Got that in Tier 2 twice now. So congrats to Hunted. I mean, he really did need that after the way his season has been going in Tier 2. And GSR veered, invalidated his lap time, so that will be it from him for right now. Not a lot of drivers out on track. A lot of drivers starting at the back of the grid, either due to the fact that they came in late, they want to make the race interesting, whatever the case may be. Scyther being one of them. The chiller as well, by the way, for Ferrari tonight. This is a return to Ferrari. Interesting to say that because it's been a while since he's been a Ferrari. 32,000's up for Jack Miles, and the chiller's last podium in all tiers comes at round 11 Hungary. So the chiller has went a full freaking season without a podium. And Jack Miles will better that lap time just to go onto the front row. He did not improve a lot, but he did improve. Got Kipu, got Virid, got all drivers here at some point crossing the line. I think Kipu is doing what I think is a long race pace run in qualifying, which is very interesting because he's been on 8-lap mediums. Is he wasting tires? Yes. But at the same time, though, I mean, look at how many people are really on track in qualifying here. Not as many, and I think there will continue to be other drivers who start at the back of the grid that will make this race interesting for sure. Hunted LAX was on a lap, but now I think is backed out of the lap, and we have a lot of that going on in this session, to say the least. That's for sure. Cryptic messaged me. I have a default setup, by the way, on accident. My pace will be ass. I already have permission to retire lap 1. Okay. No worries. Good to know, though. Good to know. Only 2 people watching stream. Oh, this is a little different for FE. Our FE stream numbers were really good at first, and then they started tanking, and I don't really know why. Owen and Speedy now make it 3-4 while Owen goes pole. And then just lagged out. We did not catch any of that pole lap. And even after that, and my apologies, by the way, but he had just lagged out as he crossed the line. That is perfect timing. I don't think I've ever seen much better timing than that. Huh. Well, we got final flying laps. Let's see who's going to be on board and running for a lap. Jack Miles, I think, was recharging, but now he's going to give Hunted LAX a slipstream here. Hunted completing a lap for the first time, but it's not representative. As you can see, 11th fastest. Cryptic's on a lap. Owen's back in the session, but Owen will have to be defending his pole position from the pit lane now. Hunted on a lap for McLaren. And DeChiller's retired from the session. He is in Ferrari tonight and at the back of the grid, usually an Alfa Romeo. He's been a part of 3 different academies this season thus far. 26-6 for Hunted. What can Hunted cook up? Checkered flag is waving for our drivers. Hunted coming through the middle sector now. He's won here before for Red Bull. He knows what the circuit's like quite well, to say the least. If I'm correct as well, I believe he has a podium here too. Or, sorry, a pole, not a podium. But definitely has a podium for sure. Hunted just hitting the apexes quite well. And now blasting to the line for McLaren. McLaren actually have a pole here in Tier 1. Other cars crossing the line. TSR Cryptic, Kipu, Virid, and now Hunted crosses the line to go front row and just barely ahead of JTK, who's not improving at all. Jack Miles invalidated, but JTK, it's now up to him in the last sector if he can pick off Owen. I apologize completely for missing Owen's pole lap, but I think JTK is running out of battery, which will hinder him in terms of any improvement. I don't think there's any improvement. There's not any improvement. Owen McMorran was going to hold on to pole position here in Qatar for Mercedes, where he won at not too long ago in Tier 2. The champion back on top. And if he wants to keep himself championship eligible, though, 67 points back in the championship from Skits. It's a good way to do it. I'll say that right now. And JTK said the reason why he did not improve there is because his wheel decided to mess up. So that is unfortunate right there. But yeah, checkered flag's out. Searles is in the pit lane. Just waiting on his car to finish off. And then we'll get the final results here. Should be looking at a 2 or 3 stop race though, as always, for FE. And here are your results from qualifying. Let's go over that. Haas, I believe, if I'm correct, maybe their best FE qualifying result. Interesting right there, being P6. So Owen ahead of Hunted. The 2 previous champions in Tier 2. 2 winners in Tier 2. Another champion, though, 4th. Jack Miles in that 2nd row. Mr. Speedy, 5th. Zomans, Alistair, first ever Tier 2 podium sitter. Wavy, RSF1 Invade, and TSR Cryptic, another Tier 2 champion, rounds out the top 10. TSR Cryptic, a 1-time Tier 1 winner. Outside the top 10, lots of big names. I mean, we got the Chiller back there. We got Zatsy. We got KVS, Gecko, Scyther. We've got Valk as well. Valk got pole here in the Season 17 F2 running of this race. Pit stop loss around here for tonight's event, 24 seconds. ERS gain back 17. So a lot on our hands for this event. And a 57 lap race. We'll see what happens. Invade says he's quite sick, hasn't touched the game in a week, so expect me to be at the back by lap 5. Well, I don't really have much expectations for a lot of the drivers in here. I don't really know what FE is going to look like as a tier for Season 2, but I really think it should have some adjustments. It just depends on what that is. We don't really know much solutions, but it's time to figure out some with this kind of attendance and the way it's being taken. It's not Jack's fault, the tier coordinator. You can only do so much. So yeah. 3 viewers, get any final predictions? I didn't really have any, but I'm just hoping that maybe the championship can be wrapped up today, so the final 2 races in Abu Dhabi and Japan can be taken differently from our drivers. Who knows? No rain expected in the race. We're in Qatar. I mean, you know, no rain expected anyway, so thought I'd put that out there. The 5 lights are coming on with 3 rounds remaining in the FE Season 1. Lights out. Away we go. Not the best of starts for Owen. He had a little lag spike off the line, so because of that, he's going to have to cover Hunted and nearly 4 wide behind that. How about the Haas there on his debut, trying to stick his nose in there and just shovel his way through turn 1, already up to 4th for just a second and then falling back. JTK, Speedy, and Zomans now round out the top 5. Jack Miles getting squirmed up, not what he needs if he wants to at least keep himself in championship contention tonight. For the lead, it's close, but Cryptic and Valk also duking it out for 9th place. Valk on the inside line, gonna get the cutback. That was a really nice move. And Jack Miles down the inside of Zomans in collision. Speedy has been tagged, and now he'll have to settle for the back. That is not good from Speedy, who had a really good qualifying, one of his bests so far in RPL. Zatsy getting through on Wavy. Scyther trying to gain some spots. The Chiller as well. Lap 1, and now we head to Sector 3. Here's the positions gained from the drivers. 2 from Invade, 5 from Valk, 4 from KBS, 7 from Zatsy, the big winner there. But the big losers, Virid, Kipu, Wavy, Speedy. Not great starts from those guys at all. We got Scyther, who's at the back of the grid, starting from the back, making things interesting now. He did the same thing in Spain and won there. We got all different varying strategies from the tires right here, but leading lap 1 will be Owen McMorran trying to pulled off Hunted, who's already running the back of him. Owen did not have the best of starts. You saw him lagging back there. I don't know if that was due to his Wi-Fi or just simply a poor getaway, but now we got Cryptic and Valk making a move once again. Cryptic down the inside of Valk, the Brazilian driver, and contact! Oh, no! And Wavy, or sorry, that's KVS, who tried to react and spun around as a cause and effect of it. That is unfortunate for KVS, who's also trying to keep himself in championship contention. A total of 59 points back, even as a reserve, just still trying to do all he can, but that is going to affect him surely. Aston as well in a big battle with Alpha and Alpine in the constructors table too. Oh my word. We got Wavy and Cryptic as well duking it out. Cryptic already got into one collision technically. That was Valk. No spin arounds there. But now having to defend from the Chiller. How about 2x2 in this section of the racetrack? That is very unordinary. And Cryptic just shoving his way through there. Wavy off the road and back on. Wavy comes tagging the gearbox to him. And now the Chiller side by side with Scyther. This is an absolute chaotic spot to be in. Almost 4 wide. They're 4 wide in contact. Cryptic, Kipu, the Chiller off. AlphaTauri's both collide. Oh my word, that was never going to work. 4 wide in the penultimate corner. Jack Miles just picked off JTK. Absolutely what Jack Miles needed. That was ridiculous. Oh my word. KVS gets veered. That was a little easy pass for KVS. Let's check the fastest laps already. Owen up there as well. Speedy getting a better second lap, so he'll be gaining on the Chiller soon. See how long that takes. That was a really dumb incident. That was really dumb. The stream actually got a really good angle of that. I'm surprised. I mean, we caught some really interesting battling in that time frame. 4th place, a Haas is contending for once again in Tier 2. How about that? You know? I mean, it was Lennon who got 4th for them in his debut. And now Zoman's trying to go around the outside. Oh, contact with JTK. Not going to give this up. And JTK just got passed by a Haas. Did not think I'd be using those words, but again on the front straight, on the run to turn 1, massive battling, massive drag race to turn 1. That Red Bull Shoreline speed is just powerful, but the Haas with the DRS gets through. Scyther on Wavy as well. The Chiller on Wavy now. The Chiller still has not had a podium since Hungary round 11. Trying to get one again. Also Wavy, or sorry, KVS and Gecko, excuse me. Gecko not in the session. I believe not happy because he was in a car he really shouldn't have been in. And Cryptic retired from the session finally after he had on a default setup. And I think after that collision, no fault with him. But JTK, the Academy teammate, is off. And that is troubling for Red Bull Academy, who just saw one retirement. And that was going to happen anyway because he said he had a default setup on. So, unfortunate. It really is unfortunate for them, though. And I think he spun around again, trying to get back going. Well, I will say, this race is going to be wide open because of the amount of good cars at the back of the field, let alone not in this race. We got Invade running really well, Alistair running really well, Zoman's running really well, Valk as well on the recovery draft after starting back there. Zatsy is too, Scyther is as well. The Chiller looking for another podium in RPL has had a long drought. Well, he's had longer droughts too, but you know what? He's not going to have a drought of going a full race without a penalty because he's already got a freaking 3-second time penalty on lap 4 of this race. That is ridiculous. Should I join the iRacing voice chat and ask the Chiller, stop exceeding the track limits? I don't know. We'll wait for that. Valk gets Invade. Zatsy gets Invade. Fastest lap from Scyther is in the thick of things. And now Invade gets shoved out just a little wide for Scyther now to take in on the action. 2x2 for turn number 2. And Scyther getting through. Here, we'll do the funny. Darius, if I see one more track limit penalty, I'm throwing my headset. All right, there we go. Well, speaking of Darius, he's about to make a move on Invade. Oh, maybe that was a bad time to interrupt him. Darius the Chiller. I should just get used to calling him the Chiller. You know, the same number in his gamer tag is the same number of seconds he has on penalties right now. But yeah, second driver to pick up the track limit penalty. I thought I'd have a little banter with him, but he needs to get by Invade soon here if he wants to continue in the pack with Zatsi and Scyther in this race, because those guys are going to be the ones chasing your podium contenders right now. And I mean, those podium contenders are Jack, Hunted, and Owen have just really pulled that gap, and they're just a ways away from the pack. But now the Chiller needs to get Zatsi, and he will do so now. Scyther on Valk as well on the front straight. Scyther has the DRS. We see 2x2 racing all over on the front straight. This is like Talladega with NASCAR in a turn 1 with the way it is. It's just constant DRS pack racing all the time. And, you know, I mean, we see 4 wide racing all the time in NASCAR as Invade and Veered get penalties. But the thing is, though, is we saw 4 wide, and that's exactly what you see at those kind of big racetracks with a lot of racing room. Qatar does not have that much racing room, I'll say, in comparison. But the front straight, though, those guys can get so wide and just split it all the way to turn 1. Zomans, 3-second time penalty, the 4th different driver to do so. I am going to throw my headset if I see another track limit penalty from Darius. Scyther gets Alistair. That's a really good move. Jack Miles and Hunted now trade spots for McLaren. I don't know what happened to Hunted, but he may have had a little error there in the last sector. Now to Chiller and Zatsi. Both Ferraris swap it around. Got Alistair as well, still in DRS. A Scyther now. Valk is in the DRS train. Further on behind now, we got Wavy, Speedy, Invade. A little bit of a move here at turn number 1. 2 Merc Academy cars. 1 who used to be in there. 3 wide for a second. 3 does not go into 1. You learned that from Nico Hulkenberg and Perez's collision in real life here in the sprint race. But now, Wavy getting a track limit penalty for trying to give a little bit of racing room right there. Wavy, 3-second there. JTK gets veered. I think JTK might have joined back. No, he did not. Thought he did. Now, the Scyther pull DRS and Alistair before the others of the Chiller and Zatsi and even Speedy get back to them. Because if Scyther can pull out DRS, this can be very interesting in terms of the championship race for tonight's event. You got KVS is already having an interesting night. You got Owen who's leading. Who needs to do that? Hunted as well up there needs to do that. Jack Miles needs to do that. So now it's just gonna be those guys trying to recover then. I will invite you, JTK. There we go. There's an invite back to JTK. I meant to do that just a moment ago, but the Chiller's now getting Zatsi on the front straight. You know, I speak highly of Darius when others speak very bad of them. I do joke with him a lot about it too, but I really think his pace and his racecraft has kind of changed a little bit. I just think the big thing that needs to be better is wheel-to-wheel racing isn't bad. We saw it in Tier 1 get better. But the thing that I think is a little bit on the bad side for him still is the track limit penalties. He needs to improve that. Veered gets a 3-second time penalty. That is at the back of the grid. Welcome to chat, Shanghai. Not the best of races tonight. Another just FE race again. But we're here to enjoy it because a championship can be won tonight. Scyther obviously trying to get another title in RPL. And we'll see if he can do that. Hunted with a penalty. That is not good. Because that means Scyther soon here could be picking off 2 of the guys in front. And Zoman's the guy right in front of Scyther gets another penalty again. Penalty galore. That's the word I'm going to use. I think it's critical for Speedy to get by Zatsy because these softs will be dying at some point soon. Are we looking at a 3-stop? Potentially. But right now we're looking at a move between the Chiller and Alistair. The Chiller gets the Academy teammate and is now the next target for Scyther. He's ahead of Zatsy. He's ahead of Valk. That's where he should be. But Zatsy's getting overtaken by Speedy on the front straight. Zatsy not having the best of races thus far, it must be said, from the back of the grid. But we'll find out. I don't expect a whole lot either, though. We'll just have to find out. We'll say, you know, for a tier like this is good practice for the Chiller to improve his racecraft for tier 1, which is much needed. Gecko, his AI card, gets Kippu. It's not good if you're Kippu. I want to pay attention for a second to Jack Miles and Hunted because Owen just asked in the iRacing voice chat that they're in, what happened to you two? Well, yeah, I wonder the same thing because they were just a second on back, and now they're 3 seconds back. So is this the case where the soft tires are just starting to die out? And is Scyther doing the NRM KVS strategy last week and actually going to win by a 1-stop? Or a 2-stop? Or just one less stop than your race leaders, really? Because I think that's what it was. That's what got him the race victory there. See any moves being made? Speedy. And Scyther gets Zomans while Speedy gets Valk. Scyther got Zomans there really late at turn 1, but Zomans can't do anything about it, really. He's got the track limit penalty. He doesn't have Red Bull straight line speed. He didn't have DRS. Scyther did. All of that helping Scyther once again. Scyther on loan for tonight's event, obviously. Just a lot of DRS trains, but not many moves being made at this current moment. Scyther's now going to try to catch up to Hunted and get in DRS, while Hunted's still in DRS with Jack. The gap between the leaders now are 4.6. So those soft tires are starting their crossover period now. And it's not really what we expected this early, but it was going to happen soon, and it's happened again. And what else has happened again? Zomans with a track limit penalty. 9 seconds to his name now. That's the same amount as GSR Veered has. I'm laughing because Owen's screaming from the race lead. And it distracted Jack. That's why I'm laughing, because you know what? I've got no co-commentator, so I'm listening on their little 4-person chat. It's Hunted, the Chiller, Jack, and Owen. Speaking of the Chiller, his teammate Zatsy is getting thrown in Valk. Good. Now good DRS is Speedy, and then you can have a little race here. That'd be great to see. We need a little race to happen. Even just besides second place. Make it hard for me to keep up on these guys. I don't know. That's the fun part sometimes when it's hard to keep up. But not really. But then people get upset when you miss battles. I can't help that. Does Scyther get a move on Hunted? Let's ride on board. On hard tires. Getting pressurized. Is this going to stay the way it is? Around the outside. Do they play DRS mind games? I think it's going to be Scyther still getting the DRS here, regardless, because both of them are on a second. But Scyther on the outside of the last corner. That was a neat little move there on Hunted. Very opportunistic indeed. And now here comes Scyther with the Red Bull DRS on Jack Miles. Is there a move late in the braking zone? No, there's not. For the run back, we got Valk and Zatsy. A little race here to turn number 1. Oh boy. Valk and Zatsy getting all out of shape, and Wavy. right there back. 11th to Pounce, and now Scyther on Jack. Is he going to get the move? Little cutback time for Scyther, and gets through. Go back to this battle. This was getting a little chaotic back here for 9th place. And Wavy gets a 3-second time penalty. The gap between the leaders now 5.5. After being last place, Scyther is up to 2nd. And right now, is he going to win the championship? The answer is no. Needs to have that gap a little bit more. And DeChiller gets another 3-second time penalty. The thing that's frustrating for these guys, though, by the way, with this not being a safety car race like last week thus far, no VSCs, no safety. Well, there was one VSC last week, but no safety car at a track like this. The fuel is very rough on the drivers, so we'll find out what happens by these guys' fuel. Owen was just asking that from the mates that he is in a voice chat with. Down the inside is Zatsy. Side by side with Valk. A lot more racing room this time as they race wheel to wheel into turn number 2. Zatsy maybe trying a cutback now. I think they're just having a bit of fun, aren't they? JTK gets Kipu. JTK and Kipu both in the session this time in that little battle. The Haas has a lot of penalties as well of Zomans, by the way, in 5th. Just to point that out, because I know they were talking about that with the DeChiller battle, because it's now all those mates right there in the voice chat would be 1, 3, 4, 6, but with that penalty it would be 1, 3, 4, 5 soon here. Zatsy first one in for the soft runners. Let's see what this will trigger now. Who's going to blink next? We're going to find out. Speedy on Alistair. Is there a move? There's a lap car almost running in the back of him there. But now, Speedy gets Alistair. Alistair shoved to the curb. Valk and Wavy battling it out now, side by side. Valk on loan from Wavy's Academy, but around the outside, Valk gets the Alpine traction to get ahead, and JTK gets Zatsy, who's now coming out of the pit lane. We'll find out where this will be for Zatsy. Probably 15th, but how far back? Question now becomes for those guys who also pit, how far back will they be? Alistair gets Speedy there after a little malfunction from Speedy. You lose 24 seconds in the pit lane, like I said, but I want to see here the gap here with the leaders. Okay, so we know where Owen and Scyther and those guys will come out then. Well, let's check if that's a lie. Not really a lie. It's hard to save ERS around here. I was talking about Owen with ERS for just a moment from what I heard. Owen said he's not used any ERS. Jack said if he pits now, he comes out 12th. Let's find out. That would sound accurate. Yeah, that is. Speedy and Alistair, drag race to turn 1, neck and neck for just a moment, but then it's Alistair being overtaken. Now Wavy and Valk. 2 teammates usually, but now for tonight, though, that can't be said. Valk on loan for Alpine. Little late bloomer for this session. It's kind of fun here and there, but it's like, eh. The chiller saying everyone is too spaced out. Well, I mean, everyone is, but all that there is at the same time, though, is just simple DRS passes. The first one you didn't have right there is Wavy and KVS. I think Wavy made a mistake. Invade is in the penalty club, and Zoman's Hunted are all in. The thing with this race, though, and the problem with Qatar, it either ends up being a hit or miss race, like I said last week, but the thing is that there's just constant people in DRS, and it's just a simple DRS pass, and no one else battles after that, which is nice that there's overtaking, but it gets a little boring with that said. I think the only overtakes we've really had in the past couple laps, besides Scyther and them, were Valk and Wavy, and Alistair versus Speedy. So it's been an okay race, but yeah, nothing to outperform the standards. Hunted and Zomans come out 11th and 12th. No surprise there. But now Jack Miles is going to figure out where he comes out because he was worried about that just a lap ago. And if he's worried about anything, I think it's going to be the state of those soft tires because Zatsi came in earlier and now is passing Kipu. And kind of needed that. I mean, you need an undercut if you're going to be on those soft tires. Jack needs to come in now, in my opinion. But it depends as well. What strategy is Jack Miles going to go for? We see some of these guys on the middle portion of our screen. You can see the blue hammer, blue tools, showing that they're going to be pitting soon, and KVS is one of them. After his spin earlier on, he needs that. Track limits are so tough around here, but the top two stay out. Jack Miles, though, is staying out too. The chiller says his fuel's not looking good. So we know what boat some of these drivers are in now, with there not being a safety car. Alistair, a 3-second time penalty. And in his Valk, front straight, Hunted, getting Invade after Hunted already pitted. Invade has not. So Hunted trying to make the most he can of the undercut. That's the 25.5, fastest lap of the race on those new medium tires. Valk going for softs in the pit lane. Let's check the fastest laps from drivers now because of everything. Do we have anyone else in the 25s? We do. We have Owen, Scyther, and I believe that's it. Yes. Let's find out if any of the race leaders are coming in. No, they're not. But does Jack Miles do so? I would hope Jack Miles does sooner or later here. He does. He's into the pit lane on lap 17. Speedy with a 3-second time penalty. Let's find out where Jack Miles comes out in comparison to Hunted and how big that undercut is going to be from Hunted. Pitting just a lap earlier. Maybe 2 laps, in fact, to be exact. Jack Miles said the only thing left on his tires were hopes and dreams, so he had to pit. Well, I can understand that one, but here comes the Haas teammates duking it out. Dueling down the front straight. It's going to be Zomans ahead of Invade, but Jack Miles about to get undercut by Zomans here. Oh, almost a collision out of the pit lane. That was Invade and Jack right there. Side by side. And that could have been very treacherous indeed. Just find out something for a second here. Okay, it's on. Good. Just making sure. Gecko is in, but it's his AI car. Hunted also on the back of Wavy now. The 2 leaders have yet to pit, but they're going to extend though, considering what tires they are on. Especially Scyther. Hards are not the best race tire around here, but the fact is, I think Scyther's just trying to one-up these guys by going for one less of a stop. Hunted is getting wavy now for 7th place. That is an interesting name. Want an on-track race reporter so you can get someone to speak to. Maybe. I don't know. Once you pit Invade, we'll do that. Maybe. Maybe. Yeti's left the session. Jack Miles, though, got undercut by Zomans, which is very interesting because Hunted is not too far up the road. We're going to see what happens here now. Alright. Wavy gets a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, I mean, why not have our in-race reporter at some point here? Hunted's getting KVS. This is around the outside of that corner. The triple right. Whoa. Hunted. I did not know you had that game. Yeah, let's invite Invade. For an in-race reporter here. May as well include your audio. 7 seconds back. 18 laps in the mediums. Okay, and low on fuel. I mean, that's gonna be a concern for everybody though. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Either way, Zoman's getting wavy now in the front straight. Is this a move being made by turn 1? Yes, it is. Late in the braking zone, down the inside. Almost argy-bargy, but Wavy concedes the place, and now Hunted has his teammate Jack Miles there for company. Jack Miles going to go around the outside at turn 2 and outpower the Aston. Woo. You know, this race might not be the most exciting, but Invade, we got some moves up in front of you that are being quite effective. I don't think your audio is included, by the way, but yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of battles, but it doesn't mean that there's all been overtaking done from it, though, because there's been a lot people just simply staying in DRS, but big news, guys. Scyther's about to catch our race leader, Owen, and get him in DRS. This is similar to what we saw last week. All right, let's check. Talk. Let me try to hear it. Nah, I don't hear it. I don't know why. I don't know why. Alrighty then. Alistair, Wavy, Invade into the pits, making their first pit stops. Let me just make sure audio's included through live stream here, just to double check. Yeah, it is. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Is it connected now?
Yes, it is. Virid retires on track. All right, well, that will likely be a penalty. Let's see if this affects the race leaders. It does not, but that could have been treacherous.
I was hoping for a safety
car. Because that
car.
was not car that would have been ghosted. Huh. Yeah, I mean, if we had got a safety car from that, that would have helped a lot of people's fuel situations, and I know I saw your fuel. That was one of them. The Chiller is one of them who's low on fuel. It's going to be a really big concern by the end of this race, though, from these guys. And in is Owen. Owen in from the race lead.
I think most people probably expected a safety car, so they've definitely on the field.
Yeah, and plus now they're going to have to be playing the saving the fuel game because, I mean, if anything was shown last week, it was that we can go a full 100% race without a safety car in RPL. So we'll find out if that happens again. We got a move about to be made here in just a moment. We got Jack Miles on Zomans. We'll find out where Owen comes out now being undercut by Jack and Hunted and all these guys. But Jack, fastest lap. Jack gets the move done on Zomans. Zomans still looking to go up the inside but can't do it. And now Hunted back in DRS pursuit of the race leader. And when Scyther pits right now, if it were to be right now, he would come out in between Hunted and Jack. Speedy in on softs, coming out now around the Valk Alistair battle. Oh boy.
My teammate's actually doing quite well. I'm pretty sure it's his
He
first
is,
race
but he's
as
got a
well.
lot of track limit penalties though. So, you think the Chiller took over his car maybe with the amount of track limit penalties? I mean, there's a possible chance. Just runs in the Ferrari Academy. I mean, you don't. I mean, well, you have one track limit penalty, I think.
No,
Oh,
I have
two.
two.
Okay.
I mean,
So.
to be fair, the Alfa Romeo who retired on track, he had 18 seconds.
Yeah, that was much worse than what Zoman's had. But speaking of Zoman's, we got a 4-car DRS train now, and the Chiller is in from 2nd place. Any hopes of a safety car is no longer hope. It's just probably not going to happen unless someone actually crashes out. The 2 retirements have been in the pit lane. Cryptic not having a setup on. Veered, I think, just getting bored from what I could tell. The Alfa Romeo. But 21 seconds of penalties, he says, is not his usual. JTK is also in. Zoman's in DRS of Jack. Hunted's lost DRS to Owen. But the gap for the lead is just going to continue to claw its way down because if Scyther comes out, it's going to be behind Zoman's now, not just Jack Miles. Speedy and Valk. Speedy getting through in Valk as well. That's an overtake done with simple DRS.
JTK
I believe Speedy or Valk, one of the two. Someone up there was low on fuel I saw a moment ago. JTK did pit. You're right about that. Did mention that. You also got a Kipu.
Yeah, I got it really early, actually. But I've been overcut because I was stuck behind Kipu by JTK.
Interesting. Right, well, we'll see what happens here at the back of the field. I mean, you guys are in hope for a safety car, even especially with the fuel. And I think you guys got your best hope, though, because Scyther, 19-second gap for the race lead, is finally into the pit lane. Let me check throughout the whole field. Who is low on fuel currently at the moment? I know the Chiller was. He doesn't look like it anymore. Might have saved a little back there. You're low on fuel. And that's it from what I see. But let's see where Scyther comes out, because this is going to be a big, big race. And the battle out of the pit lane. I mean, this is going to be a 5-car battle at this point now. KVS as well. Pits Owen fastest lap. If Jack Miles finishes 4th and Scyther wins the race, that is the championship sealed for Scyther.
Ooh.
By the way. He needs to outscore Jack by 11 points. And if he got fastest lap and he got the race win and Jack finished 3rd, that'd be the one to do it. But now, Hunted and Jack Miles in a battle. Scyther on softs from those hards. Interesting, though, if he's going to go hard, soft, softs, or what he's going to do in terms of his race strategy. KVS, obviously, is going to be outside the points once he comes out the pit lane. DRS battle with Alistair and Valk. DRS battle with Zatsy and Speedy. But the big train up in front is Jack all the way to Scyther.
I really need this safety car. I'm currently negative 0.5.
I think Darius needs a safety car where he's at too, not just you, because 13 seconds back from Scyther. Obviously, he'd like to be in the race. The penalty does not help it, but I think he's going to lose a lot more positions from running out of fuel than the safety car. And I think for you, I mean, you're already going to be outside the points from right now, even if there is a safety car due to the penalties surrounding you. But, I mean, to make it to the end, though, yeah, I mean, a lot of people need a safety car here. I mean, there's people who are probably low on fuel who we don't know about, who've been trying to lift and coast, but this track is just an ERS burner. This track is an absolute fuel burner. Jack Miles is 8% on that battery. Hunt is 5%. Zoman's is 5%. And Scyther's 59% on that battery. Oh my
Impressive
God.
about how much
Wavy.
he saved.
Yeah, the ERS, the battery, the fuel consumption, Speedy fastest lap, Alistair through on Valk. You just got so much battles going on right now. But not a lot for moves, but now Scyther down the inside. Zoman's off the road, comes back on behind Scyther, who does not have a penalty. And right now the fastest lap is going to Speedy. And if Scyther wants to win the championship today, he will need that. But now on these soft tires, he's absolutely blitzing. He's already going to go the left side of Hunted. Around the outside here, where Hunted went around the outside of another car. Whoa! Holy cow, Scyther just finding the smallest of gaps and getting through. That was another neat move from Scyther and or Hunted in a battle. Wow. Oh my God. You're going to watch that one back on stream and just go, whoa.
Seems like there's a lot of overtakes happening now.
He's finally making it interesting. Here he comes in Jack Miles. The Chiller got another penalty. And Scyther, in the span of a lap, now flapping the DRS. 5th to 2nd. Now going to chase after our race leader, Owen McMorran. We've got 3 different nationalities on that podium. A Welsh driver, an Irish driver, and an American driver. And Scyther's used to winning in a Red Bull here in RPL. He's done it in Tier 1, and he's also done it in FE earlier this season when he was on loan in Spain. And from the back of the grid. Well, it's what he should be doing in a Red Bull, considering it's the fastest car. So, if he wasn't doing that, I'd be a little concerned, but... Yes, Alistair, Zatsi, Valk, the last points runners in a DRS trained there. Let's take a look again at fuel. You're low on fuel, Invade. Who else is? Let's see. Anyone? Nope.
At this point,
just ERS for a lot of people.
Fuel.
Yeah, I was just going to say the ERS for a lot of people, though, looks all over the place and just messy. So we'll see what happens in terms of that. Wavy 3-second again. Scyther's pulled a 2-second gap on Jack in just a span of a lap. And Jack off the road, comes back on, gonna lose time. And that could invite Hunted to DRS, but he's just out of it. Whereas Zomans is right there as well to pounce, but the penalties for him, 15 seconds. Scyther fastest lap. Everybody's pitted except for Kipu, and Zomans going through unhunted, breezing past. Alistair might look to do the same on the front straight too once it comes time.
What happened to JTK?
He lagged out and he spun earlier, and he's just been back there since. He's not really had the best of races. I think he said he had issues with his wheel as well. Hold on, we have a car off. Wavy. Wavy's off at turn. That's the last corner. I thought that was turn 1 for a second.
15 seconds of pens. Wavy has.
Yeah. I was just going to say, he's not good on the penalties. He's got the same amount of penalties as your teammate Zomans has.
Jesus, that's a lot.
The Chiller's also got 12 seconds. The Ferrari Academy added up with penalties. 45 seconds. So if it's not DNFing with 4 different cars in a span of, I don't know, like 60 seconds in Monaco, it's getting 45 seconds of track limit penalties. So Ferrari Academy hitting another disaster. I'm sorry to say it to you guys, but not looking good. But looking good for Scyther, who is usually a part of the Ferrari Academy, would be on loan for the rest of the season for McLaren, but now he's in Red Bull tonight and trying to take the race lead from Owen. 7/10 back on the main straight, and now by the end of turn 1, I think just consuming some more battery because Owen's doing the same. 7/10 there, still the same gap. Zatsi 3-second, Hunted down the inside, a little late, but contact, pushing each other along. Hunted more contact. Zomans hanging on. Interesting battling there. Now Alistair with a drag race with the Academy teammate of Zatsi down to turn 1. Battery more for Alistair than Zatsi, but both above halfway. And no move being made. Wavy is in the pit. Is he going to retire? Does he have damage? What's going to be the case for him? Let's see. Hold on. Race lead again. Scyther trailing Owen. Not by much. Hold on, Invade. Wavy is retired, but Scyther is right on the back of Owen. Just absolutely trying to get him into a mistake, and now using the battery. And going to go down the inside of the triple right. Hunted with a 3-second, but making Owen go out a little wide. Now Scyther at the end of the triple right. Just 2/10 back. They're going to wait for the main straight, or is Owen going to play some DRS mind games here? He is going to try to play some DRS mind games. Owen going to get the DRS. But did he back off right there a little too much? Because now Scyther has more battery, can just turn the jets on and absolutely fly down the front straight. Owen's now the one turning the jets on, and here he comes on Scyther, making the move to the right side now and getting past for the race lead once again. Owen tactically let him through and then got back through for the race lead. Hunted as well on Zomans. 4th place up for grabs. Hunted the long way around this time. Not going to go the inside. Going to go the outside because he's already tried the inside once. And going to have the inside for turn 2. Is this the preferred line? For now it is. But Zomans, oh, this is getting a little tight. And for the race lead, it's also close too, because now Scyther battling Owen. And Owen back down the inside. Scyther threw him momentarily. Then Owen rear locked it and almost went into him. Yellow flag. Zoman's been spun around by Hunted, but Scyther takes the lead of the race. Wow. That is a lot to keep up on, and Owen is still right there. Owen is still not going to give this up. Scyther 4 championships throughout F2 and Tier 1. Yeah, it really is. I mean, you're going to love to watch this back. I mean, if you're seeing it on the stream yourself as well on the side, that'd be nice. But yeah, I just was going to say how Scyther 4 championships with F2 and Tier 1. Owen 4 championships now with just Tier 2. And Scyther tactically pulling the DRS games with Owen, and Owen did the same. And now Owen is going to be the one to get the DRS, and this is just going to continue to catch Jack Miles up. He just caught a second. Zoman's with a 3-second again. DeChiller picks him off, and now Owen with the DRS pulls out, takes the lead of the race back once again.
There's a pass off my teammate.
Yeah, he's having more troubles. Speedy, by the way, was one as well who overtook him, and now Owen and Scyther again wheel to wheel. Owen inside line getting ahead, but now Scyther gonna try the cutback. Scyther not gonna give this up, past halfway now in this race. Oh, he almost faked him. He almost pulled the dummy and made Owen think about it, but now into the pit lane is Zoman's, I think, for more issues, and that is a retirement.
Yeah. Softs probably weren't the best tire for this track. They clearly have
well, it was for some and not for others, and Kippu with a 3-second time penalty still yet to pit in this race.
Yeah, I think he's going for a 1-stop, but I don't think it will work.
It won't work, but the thing is, though, I think he's just trying to be avoided by being lapped at this point, I think. All right, Owen, Scyther, what's the DRS mind game's going to look like here? Owen pulls out and makes sure to allow Scyther to go ahead before the last corner this time, and now Scyther going to just pull the slipstream games, weaving and bobbing, and Owen with barely any battery, not going to gain much in the front straight. Here we go, turn 1, up for grabs for the lead. Owen down the inside and going to try to regain the lead. A late lunge gets him ahead, but momentarily, Scyther takes it back. Now Owen on the inside line, not going to give Scyther much room. Scyther pitch to the curb, they do bang. Scyther back through into the lead of the race, but man, he took a while to retake that race lead as Invade and Zatsy pick up track limit penalties. Alistair, KVS, Valk, DRS battle into turn 1. Zatsy retires. That is a Ferrari out of the race for a 6th consecutive week. Wow. Right now, with the way things look, Scyther's winning the championship today. And he's doing it perfectly. The fastest lap on board. Jack Miles 3rd.
Looks like there might be a fight brewing up behind Aston Martin.
Maybe. We got a second gap between the leaders now. 12 guys still left in this race because I believe Gecko's not in the session anymore. And also JTK and Valk. This is the triple rights where I would say right now this has been the big place to make a move and have big balls and send it. JTK, though, trying to go around the outside of the penultimate corner, using a bit of the curbing. And now because of pressurizing Valk, that's forced Valk into an error, and that's got her a penalty. And JTK is through, making the overtake. What a sad way to end it, says Zomans. I would agree, because it's unfortunate with retiring from the race, having a really good run. I know the track limit penalties weren't what you wanted either, but you had a really good run going. Alistair, KVS, JTK, Valk, just the final points runners in DRS. I feel like this is like the midfield battle of like I don't know, 2018 or 2019 with the way we're seeing this right now. Spread out gap between the leaders, and then one big name car up here, Red Bull, and then the midfield, all battling it out. Alfa Romeo have had a really good season, 5th in the Constructors. We've got McLaren, 8 points back from Red Bull. They're 3rd and 4th, but even with the way things are going, I think it's about level playing ground with how many points they're going to score tonight. And Ferrari, 35 points back, not helping their case at all with the amount of retirements they've had. And JTK sneaking a peek again, just wanting to make the move but can't. KVS going to get DRS off the lap car get-go. That's good to hear that you had a nice battle, those Zomans. I'm glad to hear that. JTK also gets Alistair, the Academy teammate of yours then too. So, neat little battle there. That's really the only battles on the racetrack right now on lap 33 out of 57. Yeah. But man, we've had quite the action, and now it's finally calmed down, and I'm wondering when are the last pit stops going to be made from these drivers at this point. I mean, surely they're going softs at this point. I mean, everyone else in that top 5 area can do that.
I can say that I'm boxing lap 39 for the mediums. So
yeah, so if you're doing that, I mean, then they're going to go around some point to go softs a little bit later on then, especially the ones like Jack and Owen and DeChiller who need those soft tires now at this point with their pace drop off.
Yeah, everyone who didn't really take part in quali will have those fresh softs. They might use them at the end.
And that's smart to do. I mean, they did the same thing, I think, a couple weeks ago, too. I want to say in Texas would make sense. The way with Texas, with the way that is. So, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, probably.
2.3, the gap between the leaders. We'll give the leaders some screen time compared to what we give Cookie in Tier 1. We don't give him much because he's so far out in front, but yeah. Blue flags as well for the AlphaTauri of Kipu.
Just completely giving up on saving fuel now.
And penalties too, clearly. JTK is also in a battle with KVS for 7th place. Let's see what the fastest laps look like and where things line up from the drivers. 23.7. No one else is in the 23s, so I don't know if that lap time will get beaten. But considering how much fuel is being burned from the drivers, I don't know, man. It really could get beaten. Now, I mean, if Scyther does end up keeping up the way he is, I mean, it will be a fuel concern. And by the way, Kip with 32 laps in the hards, finally done with that one. Driver of the day contenders for me. KVS is a good shout because he spun earlier on, but I don't think I'm going to give it to him. I think Scyther is the one from the back of the grid who deserves driver of the day at this point. And Hunted is finally in. Is this for mediums or is this for soft becomes the question. And KVS just kind of allowing JTK to go through for 7th place. Hunted, Kipu both in, by the way, in the same lap. Hunted is in, but what tires? Mediums, it looks like. Interesting. Alright, Invade, we don't have much battling on the racetrack right now as Valk is in. Hold on, let me just see if they pass Hunted out of the pit lane first. Hold on, JTK does. Does KVS side by side out of the pit lane. Hunted will have to warm up these tires for just a few corners, but staying ahead. This was a conversation in the Tier 1 drivers chat, but any quick thoughts before we get any overtakes on the first RPL documentary released last week?
I think it's actually something nice that you've done for the league. I think it's a new concept, which is quite good. I watched quite a bit of it. I didn't watch it all, but seems interesting, to be fair, and hopefully more to come in the future.
Glad to hear that. I mean, yeah, I mean, the one I'm thinking of up next, Cookie's Tier 1 season, if he wins the title. It's hard to do it for guys who don't always stream the races, but considering Cookie's been in the same voice chat as Reese most weeks, it does help out with Cookie there. Reese, it was easier to do with him because he streamed all of his races, so yeah, we'll figure out what we could do for Season 10 F1 then. I mean, I think it's going to be an F1 only thing for the most part then. With that said, we got Hunted who is an F1 4th place finisher, but not a podium sitter and a Tier 2 champion. Let's find out what he can do, trying to pass JTK. He's won here before, and he's looking to get a good finish here tonight on the Red Bull, the car he won at the circuit before. Not fully clear of JTK there, Hunted. That was close.
They have history as well.
You were saying?
JTK and Hunted, they have history.
They do, actually, yes. Previous ex-teammates. But I think originally going to be teammates for Season 11 Tier 2. Or, sorry, Season 12 Tier 2. But now, since Hunted, just before this race, was made Academy Assistant and given a penalty there from track limits, ended up staying at Alpine Academy from the looks of things. And Valk makes the overtake for 10th place.
Yeah, just an easy DRS pass.
Simple. It happens. This is the way the circuit can be with the easy DRS passes. I don't really see any other driver inside the top 10 really in fuel consumption mode, or at least any worries with that. I think those guys are not using their battery because of it as much. I think the chiller may have figured it out, but into the pit lane he comes. And he almost sped too.
I'm probably going to run out of fuel like 2 laps, maybe 3 laps before the end of the race anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was just going to say as well how you want to be able to at least not run out of fuel terribly. You don't want to run out of fuel in front of the whole pack of cars. That happened with Cryptic in Japan, and it actually almost caused an accident because of it. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably a good thing in a nicer way to say it, though, at least that you're back there outside the points and not going to run out of fuel in front of most of the field, but the chiller comes out right in the path of KVS. Interestingly enough, and maybe tell me why this is, considering Jack Miles is still out on the track, 19-lap mediums. The chiller went for hards. Why would he have went for hards, Invade?
Maybe he doesn't have any more mediums or soft.
I don't know. I mean, this doesn't make sense in my head. I don't know. Yeah. Already got some Season 12 Tier 2 contracts being signed as well as of the current moment. Ardell going to go full-time for Ferrari in Tier 2 next season. Jack Miles is in finally. And interestingly enough, I want to see where Jack Miles ends up and what happens with Scyther the rest of this race, because if Scyther claims fastest lap, Jack is third. Not enough for Scyther there. Even if Owen finishes second, I mean, he gains points to get third in the championship here, but it's not enough. I mean, you need to be 52 points back, or yeah, 52 points back here. You can't be 53. I mean, Jack can tie it, but with Scyther winning today, it would cause a little bit of blockage in that, I guess you could say. And Jack Miles comes out of the pit lane being undercut by Hunted. But Jack, by the way, the strong suit for him is no track limit penalty. That is very crucial to have around this circuit, no doubt.
100%. I want to get your thoughts on Gecko moving to Red Bull Academy for next season.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to go full-time Red Bull Tier 2 then. I don't think so, because those lineups are filled. But if he's going AlphaTauri then, I wouldn't say that's a downgrade for him, but that's a big help for Red Bull, though, at that point, because they need a driver for AlphaTauri who can get a chance to Red Bull and do well, but a driver in AlphaTauri who can outperform that car. I'm not saying Kipu and Gagi can't. Kipu clearly can. Gagi can on pace, but can't based on the results we've seen in Tier 2. And they really don't have the guys who are there in case Gagi, example, gets a race ban or Kipu gets called out with Red Bull, and then there's no one for AlphaTauri. So that's a tricky thing for them. So if Gecko is in fact going to AlphaTauri in Tier 2 specifically, besides just FE, because I'd assume you'd be in the same academy then that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like Gecko is going full-time in the Red Bull for FE, though. And his first reserve.
Yeah, FE is full-time there. I'd assume because of that for next season Tier 2, he'd be full-time with AlphaTauri. See, the interesting thing, though, for those of you watching, by the way, I'll update you guys where we are next week, but, I mean, for Tier 2 and FE, we have it to where it's half a season compared to a full season of Tier 1. So you really do 2 seasons of FE and Tier 2 of a full Tier 1 season. With that said, I guess you could say it's weird because Tier 1 you know, drivers in Tier 2 or FE or reserve and stuff like that, or get on loan. You really swap teams throughout the season if you're going a different team in 2 different seasons there. And Scyther, by the way, is in. With that said, though, next week's races, Portugal for Tier 2, Britain for F1, and we're in Abu Dhabi for Formula Endurance. Hopefully more turn up for Abu Dhabi. I would hope so, because that's a really good racy racetrack in terms of making moves, overtakes, and just a lot of slipping and sliding.
And I'll be back for Tier 2 next week after missing this week.
Go. That'll be fun to see, by the way.
I mean, I'll probably be where I am today.
Speedy pits, Scyther pits. Scyther came out behind Owen, and we'll trigger Owen to pit soon here. With that being said, because the undercut, and now the chiller on the right side. Getting the pass done on JTK. Speedy is in, but gonna be out behind KVS. Jack Miles right now where he's running. Would still be in championship contention, but doesn't mean it'd still be the way at the end of the race with Scyther trying to get the massive undercut. The good thing as well at Invade is we were able to get old access, by the way, as you pit, we were able to get old access to a few race highlights that were never uploaded to the RPL YouTube channel specifically. I'm speaking more about the fact of Season 1 and Season 2 races, and you know, before we uploaded Season 5 full races, and now we'll get to upload some race highlights from Season 1, Season 2 that were on old channels of RPL, but not on the main one. And it'll be done with the new transitions and stuff like that. And I think after this week, I'm probably gonna breaking news here. I'm gonna have a new outro for the conclusion of the videos. That'll be put down. It was 20 seconds originally. Now it's like 14 to 17, and that'll be moved down to about 10. Hold on just a second. I'll let you comment on that. As I just mentioned, Speedy getting by KVS.
I mean, seems interesting. Glad that you can get the old highlights.
Not all
of
them, but some of them. Some of them that were there. Can't get all of them, which sucks, but yeah.
Still, some of them. I mean, some people
makes
see
it fun
how
for out of context RPL then.
Or RPL,
you know,
back in the day.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll have to figure out when the next out of context for RPL will be too, because that will be something I'll have to work on. Have a lot of clips in mind, but just a matter of putting it together. New unread chats in the RPL chat. F1 drivers chat. Genuinely curious about people who watched all of it. Yeah, I am too, in reference to the documentary there. I am curious on what can improve, but we'll mention that a little bit, since we have a dual race right now for the moment. Once pit stops do work itself out, we'll have things figured out, but now the two McLarens going to squawk it around with Hunted being ahead. Jack Miles going to try to get through now with overtake and DRS on line for him. And Jack Miles using that inside line. And now gets the move done and says, see you later, Hunted. I'm after Scyther. And Owen, technically, because, I mean, that's the only person really Jack can pick off here at this point, I think. To at least hope for any last-ditch effort in the championship. I think missing last week was a big thing for Jack to not be championship eligible, or at least cause himself to be in this position now with just a few races remaining. But yeah, Red Bull versus McLaren for the title. Now basically with things going the way they are. Mercedes will gain a gap, but I don't think they'll gain it too much on Ferrari. And Ferrari will still be there, but a little bit more than a race back now after today's event is over. And then we'll see if anything gets won in Abu Dhabi or Japan, which will be our final 2 races. Two racetracks that really should see a lot more drivers turn up, based on the fact that they're tracks a lot of the drivers like, and Owen is in. Yeah, any thoughts? I mean, based on what you... I mean, you said you didn't see the full thing, Invade, but any thoughts on what you liked and what you didn't quickly as we see Owen in?
To be fair, I like the fact that you included Reese's streams.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I wish a lot of people would stream. Be nice.
You could also hear and see what was happening, how it
Exactly.
felt.
Yeah. Owen comes out of the pits behind Jack and Hunted both. But keep in mind, Owen is on soft tires. 17 seconds the gap between Jack and Scyther. That is insanity. Alistair into the pits now for Alfa Romeo. But now as Owen will try to pick these guys off, we're going to find out Owen or Scyther who's going to end up with the fastest lap by the end of this race. Owen using a little bit of battery for just a second. Now Hunted being pressurized by the Irish driver. And Alistair back down to 10th after pitting there. We'll find out if fuel becomes a concern. Battery, though, for sure on some of these guys. A little bit better than earlier. But still, I mean, they got nothing to defend with here. It's a little bit of a disappointment considering their battery. But now Owen going for an opportunistic move here. Another glorious overtake in the triple rights in Qatar. Wow. And if Owen doesn't get DRS on Jack here, he's going to get it, I think, on the AlphaTauri of Kippu, who is just riding in between these guys as a lap car. I think getting lap for... is that the first time or the second time? It's the first time, but the thing is with Kippu, though, is the fact that it's, again, technically a second time, but a lap down just because of the pit stop cycle, cycling it out. JTK pitting, Owen going through and reclaiming that second place spot he once had earlier. And right now, with the way this thing will end up, Scyther will be your champion because he will have outscored Jack by 11 points, exactly what he needed to do. 42 points back. But bear in mind, any penalties or anything like that, that could change the complexion of things.
Yeah, 100%. Looks like Owen's going to have the newer tyres, so hopefully he can catch the Cypher and give a battle.
Yeah, I mean, at least not have it be a 15-second gap, maybe a 14, 13 here. I don't think it will be, you know, by that much, but... You know, I will say, you don't know what could happen at FE because we've seen spins from the race lead already multiple times in the first 9, 8 races ran. So, yeah. A lot can happen.
Yeah.
Also, the thing is, as to why Scyther has the lead he has is DeChiller gets another 3-second time penalty, and he's around. He is far on the runoff there, DeChiller is. Oh my god, DeChiller. Okay, that was a very unsafe re-entrance right there. That could have ended up a whole lot worse, but... Yeah, fastest laps now from Owen. I was just about to say, Scyther's been in this position for the championship now because of the amount of fastest laps that he has taken this season. He's taken 3. Valk with a penalty. But yeah, 52 points the gap would be now with that fastest lap going Owen's way. Meaning Jack can tie the championship, but, you know... Nothing made from it then at that point. If you're going to tie it, you need 2 race wins and 2 fastest laps while Scyther scores nothing. And if that happens, Jack would win it on count back. Whereas right now, you need Scyther to get the fastest lap for him to get it today. KVS pits. And Hunted, by the way, even though he is that check penalty, he's still lingering right there behind Jack Miles. DeChiller is there with Speedy after that spin, so still, the last 10 laps of this race could see some action while we have Alistair and KVS, 9th place, a battle there. But yeah, I think my drive of the day is just set as long as things stay the way they are. I think I'm going with Scyther for Red Bull. I mean, I know in a Red Bull, he's supposed to do this, but, you know, on a day you can win the championship. It's a quite good drive, to say the least. It's why he would be the FE champion for the first time here. He's not far away from it. I was hoping there'd be a championship battle in FE, but Zach left. Jack missed last week. It's a lot that happened for it not to be that way, which sucks. But you know what? They always say there's next season.
Bit of a shame that Zach also left while he was in that championship fight.
Yeah, I mean, he got the gap down to, what, 30-something points, 20-something points. Jack had the gap down to 20-something points as well before Brazil, when Scyther got the podium last week. Alistair trailing KVS. Is KVS going to continue to keep him at bay? Yes. You know, this week has been very interesting, though, because JTK in the wet had a 5-second gap. Cookie had a 20-second gap for the win. And now Scyther, about to win another race for Red Bull this weekend, a 17-second gap right now. And,
yeah, I've just retired in pits.
see you later, then. With that one, yeah. That is not good.
I've just realised.
Sorry to see that.
I just got wing damage then. I don't even know how I got the wing damage though. So I was like, I can't.
The fuel probably did not help either.
Oh no, I was.
You don't want to cause yellow flags so people
laps.
can overtake. Yeah. Well, at least when you retired, you created yellow flags, but in a spot where no one is around, which is good at least because no overtakes happening at the current moment. We got Alistair and KVS still on line for moves here being made too. 17.5 the race lead now, and Jack Miles losing out to Owen by a ton too. Looked like the race to control at first, but no longer can be said. Alistair and KVS still once again. Alistair still staying behind. I think just trying to save some battery up, because look at the battery KVS has, just a lot more, 30% more.
They both have a lot of battery between them, to be fair.
Yeah, if a safety car came out right now, I mean, they'd be in perfect position. No VSC, no safety car. It's looking good for a clean race like tonight, but still. I don't think it's what a lot of people wanted considering the fuel situation.
No, probably not, but I mean, it works.
So they're trying to claim win number 2 in FE tonight, but the second race win would get him the championship if he can hold on to fastest lap when he had it earlier, and he does not have it now because Owen has it by 6 thousandths. I don't think Scyther knows that if he gets fastest lap, he can win the championship tonight, but if he doesn't get fastest lap, it goes to next week in Abu Dhabi, because Jack can still win it on count back, assuming he wins both races and takes fastest lap. That fastest lap is needed with it, though. In both races, by the way.
At the moment, it looks like Speedy's going to go to P4 and JTK's going to go to P6. And
yeah, got a fair point there.
KVS and Alistair both get promoted due to belt spends.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, I mean, I don't know if you saw at the back, they had the 4-wide collision on lap 1. I think Darius was involved in that, but I mean, fair credit for the Chiller and Scyther just being able to pick their way through that. Oh boy.
And reset the track.
That will probably be sent to the storage room. I would not be surprised. 18 seconds now, the gap at the front of the field. How long has this race been? It's felt like a while.
About an hour and 41 minutes, including.
So qualifying started like 3:06-ish my time. 20 minutes long. There's another move being made to JTK and the Chiller. The Chiller is in. So what am I thinking here? It was the Chiller pitted for what tires? Let's see. They were soft. Yeah, so let me think then. Yeah, so an hour and 20 minutes, but it just doesn't feel like it's been an hour and 20 minutes though. I feel like it's been longer.
Feels like it's been ages.
JTK with a 3-second time penalty again.
Ooh.
Actually, no, that's his first. Oops. You know, Beatnik's RPL Slender, he's probably going to have in there the, you know, the meme of like, Wade, the one where it's like, where the guy took a picture of every day up until like, he got married or something like that. It's going to be like the, picture of drivers waiting for, or the meme that he'll put for drivers waiting for an FE race to be over. JTK, or who was that? No, Alistair with another 3 seconds, sorry. That's 6 seconds on his name. I don't think anyone's in puncture territory, really, except for anyone on 14-lap mediums, but even then, I don't think that's much of puncture territory, while Scyther's on 10-lap softs. Just depends on how he saves it, but the Red Bull can serve tire wear quite easily, and I think you just sneezed, so bless you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I was right, okay. Let's talk about the circuit with history from the drivers first. Or let alone the season thus far. Wavy retired out of this race. He leads the penalty standings. Scyther has the most penalty points of any driver. Crazy enough that he's leading the championship and still winning this race by it too. Also with that said, Gecko this season's had 3 DNFs. KVS, by the way, 0 DNFs and no penalty points. He's been a reserve though, keep that in mind. Scyther won this race in Qatar in season 17 F2. 3 fastest laps this season. Mythic won the season 18 F2 race. Did not know if he was going to race tonight, but had him in my stat book just in case, because that was his only race win in F2, let alone RPL. Yeah, that would make sense. Beatnik F2 podium in season 18. Also got one in season 10 tier 2. Oh, and a season 9 tier 2 podium. Oh, and a season 11 podium when he won the race here. Cryptic season 9 F1 podium. Valk got pole in season 17 F2 here. I don't know if that was her only pole, but that was a nice one. By the way, Scyther came into the pits while we were watching all that and has pitted again, but to go for medium tires this time.
Now that's interesting.
But how are you going to take fastest lap by this then? If you know, I'm assuming he has used soft, so he can't do that, but yeah. Also had 3 different teams on podium here in season 11 tier 2, season 10 tier 2. There was a Red Bull 1-2 here in season 9 F1. Haas, the only team without any penalty points, but they both have both cars out of the race. Williams have had a 4 consecutive DNF streak, but no cars in the race tonight. It's going to mean that that does not really continue. Now Scyther's 6 seconds back. I think just going to try to blitz past Owen and claim fastest lap right here, but he's got a lot of time to really do so because he does not really have the battery though to just turn the jets on and go. It's insane.
Not really.
Yeah,
I can understand the boredom in this race.
Well, that's why we make it a podcast for FE with Beatnik and Titan in them.
Yeah.
That was nice. It was nice. Let me check in with the guys through Discord there. Let me just unmute there and see what they're up to. The chiller's retiring, apparently, I think.
Oh.
He's 1 lap down of fuel. Let's find out if that's the case.
Yeah.
That would answer that question.
So, Kipu is looking on a point.
Well, good for him and AlphaTauri. He needs that, I would say. So does the team specifically after... I mean, they did have a good result in Texas, but before that, they've really not had good results this season. Let's focus on the back of the constructors for a moment. AlphaTauri, 15 points. Haas, 11. Williams, 9. So, yeah, much needed then.
I know I got 2 P11s for AlphaTauri. Unfortunately,
that's true.
No points.
We had a few too, I believe, as well. So you guys have been the kings of P11s, but yeah. Thing is, if Scyther overtakes Owen here and gets fastest lap, he wins the championship. But if he doesn't get fastest lap here while overtaking Owen, then that just stays the same, really. So we'll find out with just a couple laps remaining what will happen here. He really has. A little bit of lag, by the way, from Owen. I don't know if you noticed that happened.
I was on board with Cypher.
See with others what their fuel strategy is right now, because the chiller retired because of lack of fuel. No one else is really in the yellow for now. But it will be soon that they get toward that area, so we'll find out. Only DRS battle is for the race lead. And let's find out what happens.
don't think Owen's going to make it easy for Cypher.
Let's find out. Can Scyther take the lead back from Owen right now on lap 54? We're approaching. Let's find out. The gap is glitched at 6/10, but I think it'll fix itself once we hit the line. Yes, it will. Here comes Scyther. Not close enough.
Maybe next lap? Oh,
maybe. We'll find out. No penalties to KVS's name, Jack, Scyther, and Owen, and also Gecko, but Gecko lagged out and has not been in the race since, so kudos to those guys. While we're at it, we're going to mention that.
Quite impressive saying how difficult
this track is really tough on the track limits we saw in the Tier 1 race.
Yeah, true.
I just want to give a reminder to those watching the stream and listening. If Scyther passes Owen and gets fastest lap, the championship can be won. But if Scyther passes Owen and doesn't, championship goes to Abu Dhabi. Just keep that in mind. With that being said, I know some are focused on it, some are not. But right now the championship will be something Owen will be considering here. And that information, here we go for the race lead. Scyther. Left side now. Pull the dummy and reclaims the top spot. But how much longer will he hold on over Owen?
Clean, easy move. Late for Cypher, and hopefully he can break that DRS to Owen.
Let's see what fuel. I know guys are talking about that. Nope. No concern for anyone yet. And Scyther just continuing to pull the gap, trying to get out of DRS, but not out of it just yet. Owen trying to keep himself in that second range. See a little bit of lag. I couldn't really tell if he went wide or not, but he is out of DRS. So now Scyther can try to pull the gap that he can. A 10th up in the lap time, too. This will be crucial for Scyther, by the way. If he can take the fastest lap right here. He waited to the perfect time to get by Owen. And now he just needs 6,000s here to get that fastest lap. Can he do it? On this lap, he was going fast. And he will take the fastest lap. Just a couple laps remaining. Now 2. For Scyther to try to claim the first FE championship. This season he's bounced around all the academies. Been a reserve, yellow flags.
Owen got a pen.
Yeah. Owen said he left it off too.
The worn softs are now coming into play.
Jack Miles was the cause of those yellow flags, by the way, and Owen was also talking about needing to conserve fuel, so that's why he's fallen back a lot more. So, although we don't see any fuel lights going on, I'm sure they will be a concern on this last lap here as we're about to approach it. But yeah, Scyther has bounced around the academies this season. Red Bull on loan. Alpine and McLaren on loan, and at one point, not even on loan. Ferrari as well. He's been all over, Scyther has, and as a reserve, he's looking to win the FE title with just 1 lap remaining here. He has to hold on to fastest lap over his competitors. Hunted with a penalty. He was keeping it quite clean. For the most part, since the last one. But yeah, we'll keep our eye on fastest lap while this happens.
Bless you.
Sorry, I'm allergic to an overtake about to happen here with Hunted and Jack. Excuse me. I don't see anybody pitting to go for fastest lap, by the way, so I think they're going to have to
also
try to take it on their old tires. You said JTK what?
JTK's on the back of Speedy.
We'll see if that battle brews on. Just going to wait for Scyther to get to Sector 3 here. Approaching it very soon. And he's not close enough. No, he is. Oh, wow. That is an unusual place to make the move. Now we switch to the race leaders, who look to be close on fuel. Scyther comes out of the final corner. He's won here before in F2 by a staggering margin, but this time, if he can just hold on to fastest lap, he will claim his first FE championship, but more importantly, a second race win is his. He wins in Qatar. Owen, a penalty at the end from the game. He'll claim second place, though. An issue at fuel at the end has got him out of place. And now Jack Miles and the others come across the line. Jack Miles will claim the podium place over Hunted. That's third for Jack. But now with the others crossing the line, just waiting on KVS and others to come through the sector split, it will not be enough. Scyther, on the day he wins the race, becomes the first Formula Endurance RPL champion. And that is another title to his name in RPL, where he will claim the top spot. KVS gets JTK on those penalties. How about that for him? Alistair and Valk and Kipu, the last runners across the line for points. Congrats to Kipu on just keeping it clean simply throughout the whole race.
Brazilians.
Let's just make sure that Scyther kept on to the fastest lap. He did. And yes, Scyther is your champion from the Endurance for the first time in this tier. First ever Formula Endurance champion.
And congrats to him.
And now your podium celebration from your contenders here. I'm going to give Scyther a driver of the day here. Championship winning drive. Going on another pit stop and still beating Owen. He was that dominant today.
I agree.
And they spray the champagne. Obviously, Scyther in driver of the day. He was like, if I don't get driver of the day, that's not good. And here are your final results. Scyther from the back of the grid, 17th to 1st. He won from last once again. A 17-second gap, though, because of the game giving Owen a very odd penalty at the end, though, with him just crashing it across the line. And Scyther did that in mediums, though, so that showed the pace he had, and he had one more extra pit stop as well. Scyther, Owen, Jack, the top three. Speedy got 4th in the end. Very impressive there, his best result from the Irishman. Hunted. KVS, a really good shout-out, by the way. He really deserves that after the lap 1 spin that he had. Really good recovery. Alistair as well. RPL return. Showing that that tier 2 podium from back then is not just a fluke. It's something that he can do maybe again if he gets the opportunity. Valk, JTK, Kipu round out the points. Kipu, nice shout-out there. Valk from the back of the grid as well. And that's your final results there from everybody else who DNF'd in this race. A lot of DNFs, but none of them really were due to crashes. There were, I feel like the FE races, there's less crashes, but more retirements in the pit lane, which is very odd to say the least.
Yeah. True. Never really safety.
Well, no safety car either for the second race in a row. Yeah. Some fair points we mentioned in our FE race in Qatar, but next week for RPL, we race in Portugal for Tier 2, Vegas the week after for Tier 2 for the finale, F1's in Britain, And then the last 2 FE rounds will be in Abu Dhabi and Suzuka. 2 interesting tracks for the drivers that they'll have to tackle, but now a Constructors' Championship to be wrapped up in the thick of things as well. McLaren versus Red Bull, the 2 big protagonists right there, trying to duke it out. We'll find out what happens in next week's races, though. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. Thank you for joining me in Invade for a little bit of the second half. We will see you folks next week for the events, and we'll get a championship interview with Scyther in one of the last 2 rounds of FE. Till next time, folks, have a good one, have a good night, and we will see you next week for all the racing on RPL. Make sure you tune into our Twitch, follow along, our YouTube as well to keep updated on the action. We'll see you next time.